going on, guys? It's Elias. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see from the title, I'm going to show you guys today how to avoid any issues with changing your oil. Now, if you're like me, you have many cars, or you have one car that you go to track days, or you drive your car hard, you do want to change your oil more often than most manufacturers suggest. So, for example, in the 335D, you see right back there, it's recommended you change the oil every 10,000 miles or every year, whichever comes first. Now, the way we drive this car, it is a tuned 335D, making close to 400 horsepower and close to 600 foot-pound torque at the crank. I don't like to wait that long, so I actually been changing it every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, depending on what I've been doing with it, how hot it is, all that good stuff. Now, because of that, it tends to exacerbate some of the issues that some of these cars have. Now, I've never had an issue with stripping an oil pan plug on any of my Hondas or trucks that I've owned. But unfortunately, with the 335D, using a torque wrench, yes, I know what you guys, some of you guys will say already, oh, you got to use a torque wrench, you got to use this. I always use a torque wrench especially with the oil drain plug, because with the oil drain plug, you're doing it so many times. You're taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, put it on, let's say 4 times a year. That's a lot of times in the last 10 years that car has had that oil drain plug come off and come on. In addition to that, the threads on the 335D are pretty thin, and it's an aluminum pan, so it's just all that together has led to, when I'm using the torque wrench at 20 foot-pounds of torque, I set it and it got loose instead of tightening at the end of it. So I went ahead and stripped it. Now, to avoid this, there's 2 things I'm going to show you today that will definitely help in not only avoiding that issue, but also making your oil change that much faster. And let's go take a look. I'm going to show you the products. I'm going to show you how I did it. And I'm taking a little bit extra measure with some JB Weld as well to make sure I don't have any further issues on that car. So now, usually when you have a threading issue where your oil drain plug goes, you go to any shop and they're gonna say replace the oil pan. Now, on most cars, that's pretty easy. You take the oil pan out, there's a whole bunch of bolts, you take it out, you put another one in. Unfortunately for the BMW, that's just not the case. Now, even if the part itself was inexpensive, and I found a used oil pan on eBay for $400, which is not bad actually. I would have happily paid $400 and I would have installed it, but you have to take the whole subframe out. Unfortunately, the subframe goes right under the oil pan, so you have to take the whole subframe out, and that's extremely labor intensive. I would be here all day taking all those bolts off, taking all that stuff off, and I really didn't want to go through that. First, I could make a mistake. Second, it's a lot of time that I don't have. And third, putting everything back together, you need to make sure you torque everything back. Things don't always go back the same way it was from the factory. This car is a commuter car. It is currently used by Jane to get her to her job 5 days a week. We put about, I don't know, almost 1,000 miles a week on this thing, averaging, depending on what the month looks like. But it's about 3,000 to 4,000 miles per month that we're putting on this thing right now. So it needs to be reliable, it needs to be 100%. So I probably wouldn't be doing that work. I'd take it to a shop, and I've been quoted about $1,200 to $1,500, and I'm like, well, that's a lot. So what are our alternatives? Well, right here I'm showing you a Fumoto. That's Fumoto F109. That's the actual valve I'm using. Fumoto, in case you guys don't know, and I had no idea, now I'm going to get one for every car that I own. It's just, it replaces your drain plug, and there's actually a little valve that when you want to change your oil, you take off a little clip, you move the valve, and it drains. There's no need for a 14 millimeter or a 17 millimeter wrench. You don't get to really get under it. You just got to click it and put a bucket under it, and you're all set. So with that said, I am definitely recommending that you get a Fumoto valve. I am, like I said, getting it for every car that I own. Now that I know about it, I am not sponsored. They haven't contacted me. I have not contacted them. I don't really care about who you get it from or where you get it from. I'll put a link down in the description for the link that I got. I got it from Amazon, and it works awesome. I put it on the car. Now the threads were stripped, so I had to kind of force it on. And what I did in addition to the Fumoto valve, in case you have the issue like I do, is I also got a Permatex, is called, high temperature thread sealant right here. Also got it from Amazon. And what I'm basically trying to do is I'm trying to install this and permanently have this installed so where it doesn't leak at all ever, so that next time I have to go change the oil in the 335D, I don't have to unthread it, because if I have to unthread something right now on there, it's basically done. You have to replace that whole pan, and it's a $1,500 job. I don't have the time or money to do it, so I'd rather just do it like this for now until I turn this car into a race car. Then we'll see about changing that oil pan for something baffled or something better for a track. But for right now, I just want a solution that would work long term, and I'm pretty sure this is going to work. So F109, like I said, for the 335D, and this sealant right here, this is going to lock in and seal the threads all around the Fumoto valve. So when next time I go ahead and change the oil, I'm not going to have an issue. In addition to that, I'm going to actually invoke the JB Weld. So JB Weld has been my friend for a very long time. I've actually repaired entire oil pans. I used to have a 1988 or 1987, or it could have been an 89 325 IS, those E30s. I had it in red. It was the coupe. It was lowered. It had awesome wheels on it. Unfortunately, I actually hit a curb that I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of parking. This was 10 years ago or so. I owned the Prelude at the same time as this E30. The E30 I kind of used as like a Saturday car, Sunday car. I loved it. Unfortunately, the oil pan started, it became a crack. So I took JB Weld, I splattered it all over it, and I put more oil in it, and it was fine. I drove like that for about a year and a half. Eventually, a valve dropped into the engine and killed the engine, but it had nothing to do with the JB Weld fix that I did. So this has been my friend for a long time. I actually fixed some household items with JB Weld as well. It's been working fine. So we're gonna put this around the Fumoto valve to make sure it's all sealed up, so I never have to worry about it again. Let's go take a look. All right, so here's the Fumoto valve right here. It's pretty cool, actually. It comes with a little clip, and if I want to drain the oil, I just have to click on this right here, this lever, and it'll open up and the oil will come out from this hole. Very cool. And it replaces this right here. This usually goes here, and like I said, I've always used a torque wrench. I put it to the specified either 18 or 20 foot-pounds. Unfortunately, I was trying to get it to 18 foot-pounds, and this became loose as I was tightening it. And when that happens, you know you're gonna have a bad day. This happened quite a while ago. It's been about 9,000 miles since I did that, so about, I don't know, a month and a half ago. And it's now time to change the oil. I already put all the oil in this bucket. I drained it all. It's all good. I won't be using this anymore. This was replaced by the Fumoto valve. What I am going to do though is I'm going to use, like I said, this JB Weld. I think there's a little bit left. Hopefully there's a little bit left. Enough so I can kind of sprinkle it on right there on the edges. It looks pretty sealed already, but I just want to make sure. I want to go ahead and put the JB Weld all over it, and we'll see how it works. So if you've never worked with JB Weld before, you're going to need a little working, I guess, container. This is actually the little plastic piece that the sealant came in. It's the sealant that I used up there. I'm going to put the JB Weld in there. It's a 2-part epoxy. You inject it into there, you mix it up well, and then you put it right on where you want to put it. So let's go ahead and mix it. Like I said, I hope I have some left. I think I do. I'm working under the car just because it's too hot and bright out there for you guys to even see me. Oh yeah, that'll be plenty. That is plenty. Alright, so we got enough of both. And then you use one of these sticks to mix it up. It should look like a gray, in a gray consistency. That is perfect. You should always have some JB Weld in the house. It fixes a lot of different things. And it'll set in about 4 to 6 hours. I like to give it 24 hours to for it to set fully. Alright, here we go. Now the key is to apply a thin layer. You don't want too much. Too much will make it very difficult for this to set properly. You also want to get enough to cover what you need to cover. Now, I'm by no means an expert. I have used this a lot, but there are, I'm sure, people better than me at using JB Weld. I call myself a practical practitioner. I use things as I need them. That's all. Now, this JB Weld is rated for some very high temperatures, so I should be fine with that. I'm actually going to take off this clip. I don't want the JB Weld to weld that onto there. That would be a bad day. Oh, there she is. It ain't pretty. I never claimed I was an artisan, but it'll do the job. I covered up all of the seams, all of the places that I could try to leak out from. Like I said, I already used the sealants on the threads, so the threads are not going anywhere. It's sealed. This is just for an extra measure of protection. I don't want any further issues. I am not going to be removing this Fumoto valve. The day I have to remove the Fumoto valve is the day I have to get a new oil pan, and I will do that when the day comes, but this will buy us probably a year or two of trouble-free motoring, which is what I want. Eventually I'll put more oil in and test it out. I will let this set for about 24 hours and it'll be all set. Alright guys, I hope this was helpful for you. Like I said, I'm going to get a Fumoto valve for every one of my cars. This is awesome. I can't believe I only heard about this now. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. If you would do this to your car, or why not. Why you think this is a bad idea. Let me know what you think of my JB Weld. JB Weld, man, is the best. I love JB Weld. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace out.